Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Blonde Girl Behind the Scenes. Today we are chatting with Anthony. Welcome, Anthony, to Blonde Girl Behind the Scenes. As you know, Blonde Girl Behind the Scenes is a podcast who talks to those who work behind the scenes of the sporting world. So, thank you for taking time to join us today. I'm really looking forward to hearing your story because I'm a fan. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Like I said before we start rolling, I'm very happy to be here, and I appreciate you asking me to be on.
of course, I'm gonna try not to fangirl out. So
That's cool. Go ahead, go for it.
so I'll let you kick it off wherever you want to start, and then lead us to where you are now, and I'll ask questions along the way.
Okay, great. You're the professional. Where should I start? Where do you think? What do you think's the most interesting place?
Well, did you play sports when you were a kid?
I did. Yeah, I
Okay.
did. My entire journey throughout my life, really, and throughout my career has been basically revolved around sports. I was born and raised in Utica, New York, which is in central New York, and growing up, I played hockey, football, and baseball, and my one true love has always been hockey. But baseball kind of has taken me down this crazy path in life. It's kind of led me, all over the world and to different states and up and down the East Coast and across the nation and then ultimately here in Banana Land. And the funny thing about it is, I hated baseball when I was younger. Hated it.
Really?
Yeah, just it ended up being ironic for my career, but I couldn't hit. When I remember my first year in Little League, I couldn't get a hit, and I didn't even think I even fouled the ball off from the pitcher. And my dad is a baseball guy, and I remember after my first year in Little League, I said, "Oh, this is gonna make him mad, but I'm gonna tell him I don't want to play baseball anymore." My goal was to go play college hockey at the University of Michigan. That was my biggest goal. And I told him, and I said, "I know this is probably gonna sting a little bit." I said, "I don't want to play baseball anymore." I said, "I just don't have fun doing it." I said, "I'm very bored." I said, "It's just not my thing." I said, "I just want to concentrate on hockey." And he did the best thing I think any parent could do to a kid at that age, which I think I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old at that time, and he just was like, "Okay, no problem." And fast forward to my seventh grade year of junior high, all my friends were playing baseball in the springtime, and I'd already played football and hockey. And sports are my thing, and I always loved being in the locker room and around the boys, and just being a teammate and all that stuff. So I just say, "Oh, all my friends are playing seventh and eighth grade baseball. I think I will too." And I haven't played in 3 or 4 years. And I went home, told my dad. He goes, "Well, this is going to be interesting." I said, "Let's go get you some hitting lessons, and don't worry if things don't go your way. We'll work hard, and you'll make the team next year." And the cockiness that I had at 13 years old to tell him, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make the team. I'm an athlete. Don't worry about it." And I hadn't played baseball in about 3 years. Is pretty it's pretty crazy. I'd like to talk to that kid a little bit, but the confidence and the cockiness, I guess, is a good thing. But yeah, I got back into baseball when I was 13 years old in seventh grade, having not played in a while, and my dad did everything for me. He took me to who ended up being like a second father to me. He took me to the hitting machine in Utica, New York, which was run by Mike Michonne, who ended up being one of my coaches and confidant as I've gotten older. And he's a pretty important person both in my life and in my career. And from those hitting lessons, something just clicked. I don't know what it was, and I became obsessed with hitting a baseball. I think because I was at an age where I wanted to understand it, I wanted to know the science behind it, I wanted to be very good at something that was very difficult to do. But something just clicked in those hitting lessons when I was seventh grade, and then I remember my dad. We got home from one of those lessons, and he said, "If you want to be good at baseball, he's like, you have to practice all the time. So when you go to those lessons, you should come home and practice." And so we hung up a big comforter in our basement and put a tee and a bucket of baseballs in front of it. And he said, "If you want to be great at this game, you got to do it every day." And he said, "You should hit off the tee every day." And I was 13 years old and he did that. So I hit off that tee from the time I was in seventh grade to literally the morning of my high school graduation, because I had a American Legion baseball game that night after my graduation. So, um, yeah, so I became pretty obsessed with baseball, pretty obsessed with hitting, the art of hitting. And that's led me, to high school baseball. It's led me to college baseball, and then it's led me into my professional career, and then it led me away from baseball, and then it led me back into baseball, and then into coaching. So it's been kind of a wild ride, but my life has been pretty focused around baseball, and now I have this amazing opportunity with the Savannah Bananas and Fans First Entertainment, and I don't think it gets much better than this, to be honest with you. I mean, every kid dreams of being in the big leagues, but life kind of takes you down certain paths, and things happen for a reason. And I believe in my heart that I'm in this organization for a reason. It's a growing organization. It's a growing entertainment company and sports entertainment, and we just absolutely love and admire all the fans that we have, and it's what makes us us. And it's been a wild 2 years, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So, from hockey to baseball, there's some differences there in the sport,
Yeah.
obviously. And being from Michigan, I have to say kudos for wanting to play in Michigan, being from New
Yeah,
York,
that's
because
that's all I wanted to do. When I watched Mike Legg do the Michigan move in 1996, I was actually getting ready for a hockey game, and that's when I was like, "That's what I'm going to do with my life is I'm going to go to Michigan and play hockey."
I
Didn't
love
work
it.
out, but
Well, so where did you end up going to college? You played
I ended up,
college?
yeah, played. I played all three sports through high school, and then chose baseball. And I went to my first 2 years. I went to SUNY Oswego in the SUNY Conference in upstate New York. And after 2 years there, I decided that the school I always really wanted to go to was SUNY Cortland in Central New York, powerhouse Division III school, always in the NCAA tournament, always had attention from professional organizations, from scouts and things like that, winning attitude, winning environment. It was my first choice in school that I didn't get to go to, and I kind of realized at that time when I was in college, my window of playing baseball was closing pretty quickly, so I had to make a very hard decision, drastic decision to kind of move from one school to the next. And so made that decision, and it paid off. I ended up playing in, we won two conference titles, we won two NCAA regional titles in New York, and played in two College World Series. I played in the CPL here in, well, actually it was in Hampton, Virginia, for the Peninsula Pilots, which is part of the same league that the Savannah Bananas used to be a part of that
Okay.
is no longer a part of. And yeah, so I got to live out some goals and aspirations throughout college. It was a tough decision to make to switch schools. I left a lot of friends behind, but I always wanted to. My goal was always to get to the next level in baseball, and I wanted to win a national title. And I thought it was the best opportunity was to go to Cortland, where the environment and the focus on winning was so prevalent that it would give me the best opportunity. And if I maybe had done well enough, maybe I'll get an opportunity professionally. But I was always very self-aware. I was 5'9" outfielder that could hit and run really fast, but that's two of five tools. So I wasn't really planning on going professionally. But it ended up did happening for me anyway. I actually got a chance to play in the Italian Baseball League for 3 years. So it was I achieved a lot of goals throughout this whole journey that I've been on. So it's
Okay.
been kind of
What's
cool.
what's the Italian baseball league?
The Italian Baseball League is a professional league, obviously in Italy.
Okay.
Europe has professional leagues all throughout the UE. I believe I'm saying that correctly. I apologize, United
Yep.
Europe, if I'm saying that incorrectly.
It's okay.
But
America.
when it, yeah, America. In 2009, I got signed as a free agent to go over there, and because I'm Italian American by descent, I was able to apply for dual citizenship. So I hold a dual citizenship in Italy. And in 2009, I signed as a free agent there, and I had no idea to expect. My family thought I was crazy. I didn't know that they played baseball in Italy professionally. I know a lot of guys were going over to Europe in college during the summer to play summer ball. I
Okay.
knew that was a thing.
Okay.
And then when they reached out to me, I had to tell them, I said, no, I'm not in college anymore. My eligibility's up. And they said, no, this is professional baseball. So I spent 3 years there, two of which I spent time with the Italian national team, which is an incredible experience. I was getting a lot of world and life experiences in my early 20s that I never
Sure.
thought I was going to get. I did a lot of traveling. I was trying to learn a second language. It didn't really go so well, but I enjoyed 3 very successful years professionally in Europe. I hit well and I played well, and like I said, I got to be part of the Italian national team for 2 of those years. So something to hang my hat on, and at the going into the fourth year, I ended up going into the real world, and that's when the second part of my life started. I got a pharmaceutical sales job in New York City and stayed in pharmaceutical sales for 8 years,
Oh wow.
and then baseball came right back into my life in 2019.
That's wild. It happens,
Yeah,
right? It comes back.
yeah,
I need to know more about Italy.
sure.
What part is the so I assume you live with the team, right?
Yeah,
Or
I live with teammates. Yep.
where in Italy is this?
So my first year, the team I was with was Codogno. They're the Codogno Jaguars. They're just outside Milan. A beautiful place. I lived with my our starting pitcher and our starting catcher. They were both from Venezuela. We had an
Wow.
apartment right next to the field. It was a perfect setup. And they put us up in an apartment. They flew us there. They flew us home. We were there. We were well taken care of in the Italian league, so it was nice. And then in my second season in Italy, I signed with the Grosseto Orioles, and same type of thing. My roommate was he ended up becoming a very good friend of mine, rest his soul, Chris Cooper. He was an American kid, spent a lot of time in minor league baseball. He actually made his professional debut in Utica, New York, my hometown, when we had the New York Penn League single A team. And we become buddies, and we lived together. And below us was a guy that I ended up coaching with in professional baseball, Billy Horn, another teammate of ours, pitcher. And we had a really nice setup. We had a car, cell phone. Yeah, so that Grosseto is located in Tuscany. It's probably one of the most beautiful places
Wow.
I've ever seen in my life.
I
Yeah,
can't
and then
imagine.
yeah, it's Italy is a very beautiful country. I always tell people I'm biased because it's really the only place I've been in Europe, but but I always tell everybody if they ever have a chance to either vacation in Italy or go to Italy in some way, shape, or form, to absolutely do it because it's so breathtaking. It's in the north, the south. We played series in Sicily. I have my heritage is I'm half Sicilian on my dad's side of his family. So I got to go through those little towns in Sicily and see, basically where half of my family comes from.
Oh, cool.
On my mom's side of the family, they're from outside of Rome. I got to see where my grandmother grew up, and I walked the same streets as she did in her little village, and I saw the house that she grew up in. So I had a lot of these beautiful experiences while, fulfilling a lifelong dream of being a professional player. And then my final year, my third year, is in Piacenza, Italy, and that's right actually up nearby Codogno. So same kind of small
Okay.
town setup. We had our own. I lived with a couple players, and it was, I don't have anything bad to say about my time in Italy or any of the situations we're in. It was a dream come true. It's I got to I always thought growing up, I was like, you hear about Italy. My grandmother was from Italy, and my great grandmother was around until I was about 7 years old, and then I've had both my grandparents, my mom's parents, until I was in my later 30s. And my grandmother used to talk about Italy like it was just this dream, this fairy tale place, and especially where she grew up.
Hmm.
And I just always used to think to myself as a kid, I was like, I'll never get to Italy. I was like, I couldn't afford to pay attention, let alone go to Italy. And I ended up making it there, and so I got to got to do a lot of cool things at a very early point in my life. So I was very grateful for everything that Italy was able to give me.
Heck yeah. That's amazing. Also, I've only ever been to Italy, like Rome, Naples area, so I'm also
Yeah.
biased, but I have other places I want to go. But I'm also just like, Italy will ruin you when you come back to America in pizza and pasta. It's
Yeah,
not the same here. I don't care what anybody says. You can eat a whole pizza there. A
I
whole
know.
pizza. I mean, I like to
I
eat
know.
clearly, but like,
I'm with you. I grew up in my whole family, Italian household. We were just eat and eat and eat. And when I went to Italy, it was like you could eat all night and not get full. It
yeah,
was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'd eat a whole pizza and then like half of another pizza, and then we'd have like seafood salad going around then people would have steak and everybody sharing their food, which
yeah,
was another custom I had to get used to.
yes.
And then, I was just like, I can't believe I'm eating this much. And then every night was like just wine, and everything was just so good. And
Oh.
you felt better too. You felt great. You felt healthy. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm. I can't believe
it's,
you drove there though, because I rode in a vehicle and I was like, we're gonna die on the other side of the
yeah,
road, but also there's all these little Vespa things going in between all the traffic and
yeah, all the different lines on the road. Yeah, that was, it took me a while too. My roommate drove us mostly, and we had a stick shift car, and I never learned how to drive one. And he taught me how to drive through our little village in
oh
Italy, and
cool.
that was an experience. That's something I'll never forget. I used to try to watch him to learn,
Mm.
And then he's just like, all right, kid, get in the seat. Let's go. He was much older than me. He's my brother's age. My brother's 8 years older than me. So we had that like big brother, little brother type thing.
Yeah.
I just followed him everywhere I went. He's such a great guy. And he taught me how to drive a stick shift car right there in Italy. And, away we went. I was like, well, I would never tell my mother I was doing this until like after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. That didn't happen at all, Mom. It's fine.
Yeah, no,
Everybody
not too
lived.
much.
My dad
Yeah, everybody was
used
fine.
to say, grind it till you find it. So
Yeah, that's
that's
it.
how I
Yeah,
learned how to drive a stick shift.
that's it.
It's not. A lot of car people are like, that's not how you do it. I was like,
That's
well,
yeah. That's like they're cringing right now. It's like that'll
oh
beat a
my
car
gosh,
up. But
yeah. Yeah. When I
yeah, my
got
buddy would
friends,
just tell me, he's like, you just say listen to it. Like when the engine goes, listen, drop it. So
yeah.
that's how I learned.
I,
I've stalled out more times than enough. There's a car somewhere in Italy. I don't even know if it's still in existence, but that thing got that thing got to put to work.
it stalled on the side of the road, and Anthony is the one who left it there.
Yeah, I figured it out.
That is awesome. I love that. Okay, so you spent 3 years there in total, right?
Yep,
And then you
yep.
came back, got a job.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've had a few jobs. The professional baseball, I got 3 years of it. Italy was starting to make different roster management moves where they wanted more pitchers, catchers, and shortstops. And I played the outfield, so I tried to tell every team possible that I could play shortstop. And they didn't. I was an outfielder, but nobody was looking for an outfielder that could hit. So I was kind of left kind of a little heartbroken because I wasn't done playing yet, and I was having such good years offensively. And I couldn't believe that I couldn't find a job because I was having success. And I was just like, well, maybe this is not, maybe I'm not supposed to be in Italy anymore. Maybe I should come back to the States and try to play. And I tried to catch on. I played in California Winter League. And I went to a couple tryouts. I even played in Puerto Rico for a winter. And nothing came of it. So it was like, all right, well, I guess, as heartbreaking as it was and as lost as I was as a person, because like this huge thing that I've been identifying with my whole life is just gone. So I had a few jobs. I coached college baseball for a little bit, worked construction for a little bit, and then landed a job as a pharmaceutical sales rep in New York City, and it opened up this whole new world for me. I never thought I'd be good at sales, but I always enjoyed talking to people. I always enjoyed kind of just conversating back and forth, and you kind of just put that with a product, and you got a salesman, I guess. So they liked athletes that were competitive, so I kind of fit that build. And my sister-in-law was working for their company at the time, and she put my resume through. And she goes, I don't know if you get an interview, but she goes, if you get an interview, you're on your own. And I was like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, and then I just kind of went into the interview. They gave me the job, and I was just like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'm a salesman now. So I did that. I did that for 8 years. I sold in Brooklyn, Queens, and Midtown Manhattan,
oh
and
wow.
yeah, I had a lot of fun, had a lot of success. It's a wonderful job. And I, working with some of the top doctors in the world, because everybody's right in there in Midtown Manhattan, was an education every day. Just the way how smart they are, the way they look at their business, the way they see things for their patients, the ins and outs of how their office works. So you kind of got a crash course in business 101 really.
Sure.
And it was just a wonderful experience, and I did very well at it. It was challenging at times, of course, like everything, but I just didn't. I knew my heart wasn't always into it. It was a great career. I mean, I didn't have any passion for it the way I did for baseball and things like that, but it was very good living. And but I just always thought like there's always like this kind of like feeling that I had in my stomach. That was just like I'm supposed to do something else. Like I'm supposed to do something else. Like I was at the time, I was kind of like over baseball. I was like kind of like that terrible breakup. You just don't want to think about it.
Back to hockey.
Yeah, it's like, so I try to fill my time with golf and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, which I love golf. But it was always kind of like, there's always this thing with baseball missing. And, in 2019, my best friend and business partner, one of my best friends and current business partner, Albert Gonzalez was coaching with the High Point Rockers in the Atlantic League. And the Atlantic League is the very top league in independent professional baseball. It's skill in it's a veteran league, so it's equivalent to AAA big league baseball. And he was the bullpen catcher for the Rockers. And my former teammate in Italy, Billy Horn, was the bench coach. And Frank Viola, who is still the pitching coach there, and Jamie Keefe, who is still the manager there. They were playing in Long Island. They're playing the Long Island Ducks. And I lived in Queens. I was only 45 minutes away. So I went to go see my boys. And they had a couple trades happen earlier in the day, and a guy go down with an injury, and they're left shorthanded. And Billy Horn, who was their player procurement guy, looked at me. He goes, "Hey man," he's like, "You still swing it?" And I was drinking a 6-pack in the crowd watching it. And in the middle of like the 7th inning, he looked at me. He's like, "Can you still swing it?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I can still swing it," not thinking anything of it.
Yeah.
And then after the game, they brought me to the clubhouse, and he was like, "No, seriously." He's like, "Can you still hit?" I said, "That's the only thing I know how to do." That's like, yeah, of course I can.
He
I was
said,
like, "Why?"
"Suit
He's
up,
like,
you're going out."
yeah, he's like, "We're gonna have to sign you tomorrow." He's like, "Welcome back to professional baseball." I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like,
Wow.
"What's about to happen?" Yeah. So I was with the High Point Rockers for that series. I didn't get any at bats, but I was with them for that series, and then that fire that had kind of been in me kind of just got sparked again. And, that led to, during COVID, my buddy Albert got the manager job with the Rockland Boulders, and they're in the Frontier League, but they had a COVID league. And he had the managing job, and I was his bench coach and hitting coach, and we led that team to the playoffs. And from there, I was back in High Point in 21 as their volunteer assistant hitting coach, just kind of shadowing their hitting coach, George Greer, who had been in the big leagues as a coordinator and a hitting coach. And I kind of just stuck by his side. And at the time, I was getting to know all the boys too, and I felt right again. I felt like me. I felt normal. You know what I mean? I felt like I was where I was supposed to be. And believe me when I tell you, professional baseball and independent ball is not glamorous, but I was kind of just craving it. But when I was in High Point, as I was getting ready to head back to New York, Frank Viola said something to me that completely changed my life. And I tell him this every time I see him. He comes to Indie Ball Jobs is our company, Bert and I, and he comes and helps us out and coaches with us. So when I was about to leave, I didn't know Frank very well. I knew of him, and he's one of the most incredibly sincere, nicest people you could ever meet. And he shook my hand before I could thank him, and thank him for welcoming me into the clubhouse and everything. He shook my hand. He says, "You have to find a way to get back into professional baseball." He's like, "You have a lot to give to this game. This game needs you." And I kind of just was like in shock, and the only thing I can muster up was like, "Thank you." I was like, "That means a lot to me." Now this is a guy that's a Cy Young Award winner, a World Series MVP, a World Series champion. This guy spent 16 years in the big leagues, and I am nobody. And he doesn't know me from Adam, but I don't know if he was, kind of watching me with the boys and kind of watching me work with the hitters. I don't know. You never know who's really paying
Mm-hmm.
attention. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I did something that you know he saw something in me, but when he told me that, I said, "All right, I have to find a way back. I'm dropping everything. I'm going back to professional baseball the first chance I get." Luckily enough, the following year in 22, Billy Horn, who was my teammate in Italy, who was the bench coach in High Point, he got the manager job in Charleston, West Virginia with the Charleston Dirty Birds, and he called me up. He said, "I need a hitting coach and I need a bench coach. Are you interested?" I said, "Yep." I didn't have to think twice about it. And then I dropped everything in New York, packed up all my stuff, and went to Charleston, West Virginia for the 22 and 23 season.
Wild.
Yeah, my family thinks I'm nuts. A lot of people think I'm nuts.
No, I do not think you're nuts. I think that obviously baseball said, "I choose you," and
Yeah,
so you are where you're meant to be.
yeah, I think so, and I appreciate you saying that too. And I've kind of walked away from baseball a couple times in my life for
Sure.
various reasons, and it just keeps going. Come on,
Yep.
get back over here.
Yep.
So obviously, it's where I'm supposed to be. And again, throughout my career, I've been faced with very hard challenges and decisions to make, and whether it was life or whether it was my baseball career. I've made life-changing decisions, and it's because in my heart of hearts, I knew it was the right decision to make. Whatever it may have been. And when it came to baseball, I just knew it was what I needed to do. It's what lit me up inside. It's what made me feel whole. So when I had the opportunity, I have this wonderful career going in New York City as a sales rep, and I have this great job, and everything's going really, really well, and I couldn't ask for anything more. My buddy calls and says, "Hey, you want to go back to independent ball and basically make nothing and be a bench coach at professional baseball?" And I didn't even hesitate. I just said yes.
Yep.
And Charleston, he gave me the opportunity to be a hitting coach, and I got to work with so many talented guys, so many guys that have been in the big leagues. 22 and 23. And then at 23, we had a really good year as well. And I made so many good relationships with guys that I still keep up with these guys to this day, so it's always nice to like shoot them a DM or shoot them a text and see what they're up to, and try to see them whenever we're around the country. Try to see them whenever I can. And in 23, the Savannah Bananas came to play the Charleston Dirty Birds in spring training. And the first night I saw them, I knew what it was, but I didn't see it in person yet.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw it, I go, this would be the greatest thing ever to get involved in, because they were just starting out. Like, nobody really knew. Like, they were so popular, but like I didn't know which direction they were going. They were playing their own games, and they were playing independent league teams. They're kind of just doing their one city world tour type thing, and in their Challenger series. And when they sold out Charleston, West Virginia, I remember just kind of sitting there, and the guys were free and easy, fun. We got to meet the guys, and a lot of them are still here. That we kind of talk about this stuff all the time. Vava is the first guy I met. He's my manager here. He's my, I can't do anything without Vava. I'm like always in his back pocket. He's my best. So, but I remember sitting up against the railing, like everything was so laid back, and guys have their hats on backwards, shirts are untucked. I said, man, we can never do this in professional baseball. And I just kind of looked. I was like, this would be cool to be a part of. I said, but this thing's starting to roll, and there's no chance a guy like me could ever. I'm so tradition and old school. I said, no chance I ever want a guy like me. And then leading into the off season, going to 2024, is a whole nother part of the journey when I get the phone call for the Savannah Bananas.
That's awesome. So you've been with the Bananas now for just a year or 2 years? Okay.
This is my second season with them.
So what's that role look like? Obviously you have a lot of fun. We know that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's for sure. I am the Party Animals hitting coach and outfield coach. Well, I'm the outfield coach for our organization right now.
Okay.
So when we go through spring training, outfielders will come with me and Coach Fox for the Bananas, and the hitters will go with me and Coach Fox for the Bananas. But as a hitting coach and outfield coach with the Party Animals, it's my area of expertise. Hitting's always been my area of expertise, and I have such a wide range of guys with different experiences at different levels. We have Jake Skoll, who's a first-round draft pick. We have Reese Hampton, who spent time in affiliated ball and spent time in the Atlantic League as well. And I knew both those guys from their time in the Atlantic League when I was there. And then you got guys that are coming out of college, and you got guys that played maybe a year or two independent ball. So there's a wide range of different guys and different skill levels. So it's kind of fun every day to help these guys continue to grow and develop them. So like, being in the Atlantic League, being with all the veterans, it was kind of just, I was an extra set of eyes for guys. Like, if I saw something go out of whack, I could just go up to the guy and be like, hey, you're doing this. And, when you're going good, you do that instead. And they go, oh, thanks. And then they go on a tear. And it's like, oh, I'm a genius. It's easy. These guys are elite level athletes. Here you get you get an opportunity to develop guys more and get more time to put in a lot more time in the cage and a lot more time with the little things and the nuances. And like my coach, Mike Michonne, would always say the devil's in the detail. And if it wasn't for guys like Coach Michonne and Steve Strife and Joe Malazzo, Craig Kerner, Gene Luthauser, and Dan Bolano, those are my coaches growing up. If it wasn't for those guys, I would never be able to be in this situation to be able to pass the knowledge that they gave me in order to be successful. Because a lot of the things that they have given me, I'm just giving back to baseball, and that's the way I look at it. So I'm the oldest. I'm the one of the older guys here, so I feel like they're my kids now. So I like to get on them a lot. I like to give them a hard time, yell at them when I can. But
I love that.
it's a lot of fun developing guys, because it's a clean slate for some of these guys too, coming out of college, because you never know where everybody's coming from with different philosophies they're learning. If you could just find a way to unlock them just a little bit more, and they enjoy some success, you get to watch them continue their career when you can't do it yourself anymore. But to be able to give them a piece of advice or give them inspiration or coach them in a way that continues to make them successful, where their careers can still continue on, is probably the most fulfilling, gratifying thing that I've ever done in this game. And I have a great group of boys. They're very coachable. I don't know if anybody listening or if yourself have been following along for the last couple of years, but the Party Animals absolutely bang the baseball, and that's all my guys. They're coachable. They want it. They're hungry, and they are great hitters. They're a lot of fun to work with. They make my job easy.
That's all you, though. We'll just say, if you
No,
watch them, it's all you.
That's not me. I'll once in a while make fun. I'll make a joke and be like, yeah, you're welcome. You know what I mean? But I don't think their success is theirs. I always said that I would never take credit for a hitter's success, because that's them swinging the bat. It's them putting in the work. I appreciate their trust and respect to take the coaching and take the knowledge that I'm trying to give them. That's all I could ask for is for them to take it and apply it and continue to grow and continue to develop. You know, they always have a lot of great things to say to me, and I appreciate the things that they say. It means a lot to me. I don't know if they'll know that. I tell them every year when they thank me at the end of the year, but knowing that I could help those guys in some way continue to flourish is the biggest thrill I could have.
Yeah, it's very rewarding, and like you said, it's um, nice to be able to keep sharing what you learned
Hmm.
and see them be successful, because at the end of the day, you are their coach, right? You are that
Yeah,
person that's
that's
helping them do that, but you can't go out there and hit the ball for them. I mean,
I
I know
can't.
you want to,
Yeah.
but
I do. Yes, I do. I've been politicking a little bit with Vava. I'm like, I think I could get a couple at bats here this year, man. I think I can still swing it.
yeah.
The coaching staff, the Party Animals coaching staff, we lift together, we hit together too in the morning. We go in the cage
Okay.
and we hit and we talk hitting. So we like to relive our glory days a little bit. And we still got it though. We're not that old yet. We're
Oh
still.
yeah,
I mean, I'm
that's
the
right.
oldest one there, but we still got
You need to have like what do they call that? Like my brain is fried for some reason on this word. You just step in for somebody,
Yeah, we
an
could always do that.
assist. I'm
Like
gonna
a pinch
assist
hit,
this time.
like a
Yeah.
pinch hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I got this. Just step back. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
let me show you. Let me show you how it's done. Watch
Yeah.
the old man here.
You guys should maybe play a game against each other just for fun. You know,
We would love
coaches
to.
versus players, maybe.
Yeah, we like to. We always say we're gonna do it one day in practice with for batting practice. We'll see the coaches versus the players and see
Yeah.
how we do. But we are a very busy group, so we try to make sure that we take care of our work first and play later.
Okay, that's fine. Fine.
Yeah, gotta
Professionalism
beat.
first.
Yeah, gotta beat those bananas, you know.
That's right. That's right. So you guys are already on the road this year.
Yes,
Where have you gone thus far?
we have been. We opened the season in Mesa, Arizona.
Okay.
Followed by Glendale, and then 2 weeks ago we're in Fort Myers, and then this past weekend we had our home opening series. And Thursday we'll be right back at it. We'll jump on a bus Thursday morning and head down to Miami to play at Lone Depot Park, home of the Miami Marlins, and we'll have 2 games there this weekend.
Miami. It's the
Hmm.
funnest, dirtiest city I've ever been to in my life. I hated it.
we went we went last year.
Did you like it?
From what I saw of it, I only saw the hotel and the
Oh yeah.
ballpark. Our schedule is kind of so crazy that you don't see much. I got a haircut in Miami. That was a great experience, but that was about
Was it?
all the time I had.
Was it? When I
Yeah.
worked for NASCAR, we went there, and I was like, "This is awful. I never want to come back to this city again."
I haven't seen much of it to make that. I mean, I lived in New York City for 13, 14 years. So I think New York City is the greatest city in the world. So
You're
when
a
I go to
city
other
rat.
cities, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. I grew up in the little tiny state of Hell, Michigan, so I am a country bumpkin.
hey, I
Yeah,
grew up in Utica, New York. There's 62,000 people there, 65,000. We're
perfect.
the biggest little city in the world.
I love it. I love it. So tell me a little bit about just kind of pivoting, but still on the same track. What is indie ball jobs, and how did you get started into that?
I thank you very much for asking that. I appreciate it. Indie ball jobs. That's something that Albert Gonzalez had the vision for. Albert and I, we met each other in 2020, or I'm sorry, 2013. We were both working at a baseball facility in Manhattan, and we had come to find out that we both kind of have taken the same path in professional baseball. He went through high school to college and then into professional baseball through Spain. He went to Europe to play. And once we figured that out and we started talking and kind of sharing things, and like we were just two guys that loved baseball. We're pretty good at it. But at that time, in the early 2000s and even when we were coming through through the 2010s, social media really wasn't what is. And like these platforms that players have these days to get found and get, exposure didn't really exist. So Albert kind of just looking at that, he ran a 1-day showcase in New Jersey he had like 25 guys there, and he was able to get two or three of them signed to independent contracts. And I went to the next one that he had. We'd spoke about it. I said, "That's pretty cool, dude." I was like, "When's the next one?" He was like, "I'm having the next one in a couple weeks." So I went to the next one to help out and run it and work it, and kind of like my first kind of dipping my toe back into professional baseball. Kind of watching what he was doing and how he was running, and I kind of looked at him. I said, "You're onto something here, dude." I said, "You're kind of like you're just fighting for the guys that were just like us, guys that kind of fell through the cracks. You're finding like diamonds in the rough type players that will fill a role or fill a need." I said, independent ball is so unique. Like, depending on where you are in the country, you might need a pitcher that day. And if you're in New York, you call the guy in New York and be like, "Hey, you got a pitcher for me?" And we call the guy that lives in New York and we send him over to whatever team that needs him. You know what I mean? So he had this vision this whole time, and I asked him if I could be a part of it. I said, "I want to buy in." So I bought into his company. It was the Northeast Showcase at the time. And then it grew very quickly, and he was getting guys signed left and right. And he has we have with us, we have Jamie Keefe, the manager of High Point Rockers, Frank Viola, obviously the pitching coach. We have Paul Fletcher, the former big leaguer and a scout in Major League Baseball. We have all these great baseball people around us that care about players' futures and care about getting guys jobs and getting guys opportunities. That's why we exist. We exist to give opportunities to players that may not normally have them. And you have to be able to play, and you have to be able to put on a good show when you come to our workouts so that you can get signed. But we're doing this for the guys that fall through the cracks, kind of like we did. And Bert has done such a great job with our company. He's the founder. He's El Jefe. He's number one. He's brokered deals with, we're now going to do the Atlantic League tryout for, it's our first professional league tryout that we're going to host and work and organize. And through that, we also have a partnership with Baseball America, which is the biggest baseball magazine in the world. So he was able to take this little idea, and he's a grinder. He's clawed his way through professional baseball from Spain all the way up to the Atlantic League as a bullpen catcher and then as a bench coach. And now he's in his second year as a manager with the New Jersey Jackals in the Frontier League. So he's a baseball lifer, he's a grinder, and he's a visionary, and he's been able to take us to these different levels every year. It seems like we achieve something more and more. And we have over, I don't know the exact number, but I think we're creeping up close to over 200 players that we have helped sign professional baseball contracts since 2020.
Heck yeah. Okay, so if you're a player that needs help, you need to chat with them.
Yes, yeah.
You need to find out. You need to go to Indie Ball Jobs on Instagram.
Yes, at Indie Ball Jobs. Check us out.
I love that.
We have we have a page up on Instagram, and there's testimonials up there, and we're pretty available too. I mean, my schedule's kind of crazy, and so is Bert's when it gets closer to season. But we try to do a good job of responding to each message that we get and try to educate guys as much as we can. And when we get to our showcases, we really try to give these guys knowledge and education about how it works and what you need to do. Because a lot of the times going to one showcase, you can have a great showcase, and there might not be a need for that player. And everybody after a showcase always wants to know, when am I going to know something? When am I going to know something? It might not happen right away. It might happen 3, 4, 5 months from now. It might happen in a blink of an eye. So you always have to be prepared. But sometimes with our showcases, you have to be there 2, 3 different times, and then it just, the look comes. And there's other options too. Each league has their own workouts. There's different organizations that have teams that travel. So it's there's a lot of options for free agents now, and we're out there, and we just try to take care of as many guys as we can.
Yeah, and I think that, that says a lot about the sport in itself, I think, what you guys are doing, because there's so many, obviously I'm sure there's these types of things in other sports. Something's ringing right now, if you can hear that. Leave me alone. I'm busy. I lost my train of thought. Gosh, people, this is the life, right?
Yeah, this is it.
To have somebody that's been there before, and like you said, sometimes people fall through the cracks, but to have somebody who can kind of show you the ropes and give you advice and kind of lead you down the right path, essentially, so you don't go down the wrong path. can be really nice to have in your back pocket when you're trying to
Yeah.
navigate what you want to do. Or maybe you don't want to
Yeah.
do it. Maybe you go and you're like, this really isn't for me, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely. I catch myself, we've been doing this since 2020, and we'll put on a showcase, and we have our alumni always come back to help us run it, and we kind of just sit back and
nice.
observe, and we try to find the talent that's out there, and I kind of look at them as like the day's going on, I just look over, it's like, I wish this was around when we were playing. He goes,
Mm, mm-hmm.
I
Right?
know, I know. And that's like I said, we're an organization that wants to give guys a platform, and just opportunity is the biggest thing, and an opportunity is basically what baseball is. When you play professional baseball, everything's an opportunity. One opportunity leads to another. Atlantic League, opportunity to be with the Savannah Bananas.
Mhm.
It's you go to Europe, you get an opportunity to go to coach college, and then you go on and you get an opportunity to go into the real world. Everything's opportunity, and it's what you do with it.
Yep.
So we try to give the guys and these free agents as much love as we can, as much attention as we can, and as many platforms as we can. We try to do as much as we can throughout the calendar year to continue to get these guys exposure, and working with a marketing company and make sure that our content is up to speed and its content is good so everybody can kind of take a look at what we're doing, and making sure we're organized in that kind of facet of things. So we're always trying to do new things and innovate new things and get guys more exposure, more opportunity, and help guys maybe achieve a goal and a dream like we got to be able to do.
I love it. If you ever need any player management, I've done that on the fishing side. So,
Oh, okay.
holler.
All right. That's good to know.
It's basically like wrangling cats or
Yeah.
lizards that
That's
lose their
ball players.
tail. I used to say that all the time. People are like, "Oh, it's like herding cats." I'm like, "No, no, the lizards that lose their tail? Like that's what it's like. You're holding like four of them and then one it's wild." But
Yeah.
I love that
Well,
because
welcome to Banana Ball. I got like 20 of these guys. I gotta.
yeah. I love that because I think about some of the stuff I've done as I've gotten older and I'm like, "Man, if this was around when I was younger, I'd be in a totally
Mhm.
different place. I probably would be in the same place, right? But I might have gotten there faster or just had a different mindset on it." So I love that you
Right.
guys are
Yeah.
doing that for those guys. So we're going to
Yeah.
make
That's
sure
and
we
that's
link it.
Of course, please and thank you. Yeah, that's our biggest thing is that it's kind of where our relationship kind of started too, is our love for baseball, kind of the same paths we traveled. We work really well together as manager and coach. We've been very successful, but it's for us, we've been grown up in baseball in a certain way, in a certain like um, I don't know. It's romantic, I guess, in a way. We grew up loving the game. We came from people that loved the game and taught us the game the right way. And we were. It's not lost on us that it's certainly not lost on me either that our careers. We both believe in this. That and I know I hate to speak for people, but it's not lost on us that the people that helped us out to get us where we are. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So we I've always, and whenever we make decisions for indie ball jobs, we always take a look. It's like, how are we going to give back to baseball? If we're going to do one of these in a community, how can we give back to the community? We continue to want to pass down this like passion, this love, whatever it is it may be that we have. We want to continue to pass that down for the generations coming after us, so that maybe one day somebody else passes it down, because we owe that to the game of baseball. It's given us so much that it's only right for us to continue to give back to baseball, and we kind of look at that as well too by trying to help these guys as much as possible.
Yeah. I love that. You're going to make me
Thank you.
tear up.
Oh, stop it.
Don't do that, he says. Don't do
Girl.
that. Well, I know you have a very busy day. I appreciate you taking time to talk with me. Is there anything else we should add to your story before we, as I like to say, kind of put a pin in it? Because we might have to circle back in another
Ah,
couple of
my
years.
wild, my wild story. No, the only thing I got is I'm nothing without my family and the coaches that brought me along. I'm nothing without the city in which I grew up in Utica. I'm nothing without the experiences I had in professional baseball and every team and organization and coach that I've had. I'm truly living a dream. I'm pretty very I'm very very blessed, very fortunate to be able to do what I do on a daily basis. It's not lost on me that I live a very blessed life. So I'm not here without, my parents and coaches and family and friends and everything like that. So thank you and love you to my circle that's got me here and
I love
my,
that.
my support.
Yeah. Okay, so then that goes to the next question, which you may have just answered in itself. If you had to give one piece of advice, what would it be?
One piece of advice to a player, myself, or a younger self? One piece of advice to what?
A player. Let's just say this player thinks hockey is his dream and ends up landing in baseball.
Oh man, that's a good question. Um, One piece of advice. I think the best piece of advice is find what your passion is and follow it. Do what you love. And if whether it's hockey or if it's baseball, you'll find it. It'll come and you'll recognize it when it's there, and just follow it and be passionate and be stubborn about it. And if it seems crazy to everybody else, then you're probably on the right path, and just stay with it. That would probably be my best piece of advice.
That's right. I like that tidbit there because if it seems crazy to everybody else, because I've had friends that told me you're crazy, but then they also know how passionate you are about certain things when you start talking
Right,
about it. So yeah,
right,
I
exactly.
think that's major. So
Yeah,
love that. Find what your passion is and go for it.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see you play. I'm going to be watching. Like I said, I'm not fangirling out at all. Don't worry.
We love that. Come on, we love fans. Fans first.
That's right. That's right. Never forget it. Like you said,
That's what
never
it's all
forget where you
about.
came from.
That's what it's all about. We're nothing without fans, so we love the fan girling. So bring it on, girl.
I don't have pom poms, but I tried to be a cheerleader. That didn't work out for me. But I'm a good hype girl, if that's a
We
thing.
love that.
Okay.
That's what we need. You're a Party Animals fan too, right?
Yeah, of course.
That a
Obviously,
girl.
all day.
That a girl.
Thank you again so much, and I will talk
Thank
with you
you.
soon.
Yes, I hope so. I hope we do this again soon. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Have a great season, and we will chat soon.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Bye.